Okay, let's pull back the curtain today on something pretty fascinating, maybe even a bit mysterious in the gambling world. Betting syndicates.
Yeah, it's a space that gets a lot of speculation.
Exactly. So the big question we want to tackle is, are these groups just incredibly sharp bettors using top-tier data? Or, does it drift into something more like organized crime?
Well, the interesting thing is the truth is probably a mix of both. It's definitely a nuanced picture.
That sets us up perfectly. Our mission for this deep dive is really to untack that. What are betting syndicates? How do they actually work? And where's that line between super smart strategy and breaking the law?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dig into the material you've shared, try to pull out the key insights so you, listening, can get a really solid grasp on this pretty complex topic.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the basics. What is a betting syndicate? At its core, it's a group of professional bettors, right? But that sounds a bit simple. What does it look like in practice?
Right. It's more than just a few buddies pooling cash. The key is how organized they are. They pool everything, money, yes, but also data, strategies, analysis.
Yeah.
And they use all that to place these highly calculated bets. It's very systematic. And crucially, they're often operating across tons of different sports books, even different countries, different time zones. It's a big operation.
Wow, okay. So the structure then. You mentioned organized.
Yeah, think of it almost like a specialized investment firm. Seriously, each member usually has a very specific role.
Like what?
Well, you might have one person who's just deep into tennis stats. That's their entire focus. Another might be an expert on how odds move during a game, in-play betting.
Ah, okay.
And maybe another person focuses solely on using, arbitrage scanning tools.
Arbitrage scanning. What's that exactly?
Basically, it's software hunting for tiny differences in odds for the same event across different bookmakers. If they find the right discrepancy, they can bet on all outcomes and lock in a small guaranteed profit. It's very tech-driven.
Gotcha. Guaranteed profit sounds nice.
It is, but the margins are tiny, so you need volume and speed. And some syndicates even go further. They hire outside experts. Think former bookies, data scientists, people who give them an extra edge.
Hiring former bookies.
Yeah.
Is that about getting, secret inside info?
Yeah.
Or is it more about understanding how the bookmakers think, how they set their odds?
It's mostly the second one, understanding the mindset, the models the bookies use, where are the potential weak spots in their pricing. A former bookie can offer, invaluable insights into that whole process. It's about getting a complete analytical advantage.
That level of detail is, well, it's pretty intense. You hear descriptions like military precision.
Yeah.
Is that just hype, or is the tech they're using really that advanced?
Oh, it's not hype. The tech is serious. We're talking real-time analytics platforms, custom-built AI for predictive modeling. They even use bots
Bots. To do what?
to place bets automatically, sometimes within milliseconds of odds changing, before a human could even react. It's cutting-edge stuff, really algorithm-driven.
Okay, that paints a picture.
Yeah, the analogy that often gets used, and it's a good one, is they exploit tiny inefficiencies in bookmaker prices, kind of like how high-frequency trading hedge funds exploit micro-movements in the stock market.
Okay, that makes sense. The speed, the data.
Exactly. And it really challenges that old saying, the house always wins. What syndicates show is that if you have better data, better tech, faster execution, well, maybe the house doesn't always win. Those small edges can be exploited systematically.
So is this edge something totally hidden, like microscopic?
Yeah.
Or is it revealing something more fundamental about how odds are set in the first place?
It's a bit of both, really. They find those tiny, almost invisible pricing errors. But when you see them do it consistently, systematically, it suggests that, yeah, even with all their resources, bookmakers can't perfectly price everything. There are always imperfections, and these syndicates are built to find them.
Okay, so far it sounds incredibly smart, very data-driven. But you mentioned earlier there's this murky side too. Where does it cross the line from clever strategy into, well, crime?
Right. And that's the critical point. This is where that sort of underground mafia image comes from. There are stories and documented cases of groups going way too far.
How so?
We're talking allegations, sometimes proven, of bribing players, actually influencing results, running match-fixing rings. That's the dark side.
Is there a specific example you can share?
Yeah, the source material mentions a pretty well-known case in Asia. A syndicate was found to be manipulating lower league soccer matches. And not just in one country, but across 5 different countries.
Lower leagues. Why there?
Often less scrutiny. And interestingly, they often focused on what are called minor betting markets.
Meaning,
Things like betting on the exact number of corner kicks, or maybe the number of throw-ins, or the goal difference, not just who wins or loses. These markets are smaller, less watched by regulators and bookies, so manipulation might be harder to spot.
wow. So, okay, bribing players, fixing matches, that's clearly illegal.
Mm.
But what about the syndicate operation itself? Just pooling money and using algorithms?
That's where it gets tricky, legally speaking. It really depends on the jurisdiction. In many places, just operating a syndicate, sharing info, using smart algorithms that itself isn't illegal. There's no law against being smart or working together to bet.
Right.
The absolute bright line, the point where it becomes a definite crime, is influencing the event itself, trying to fix the outcome. That's illegal everywhere.
Okay, that distinction is key.
Hmm.
So how do the sports books handle these groups that are consistently winning, even if maybe not illegally? They can't be happy about it.
No, they're definitely not happy. And they quietly admit they monitor this stuff very closely. Even if a syndicate isn't breaking any laws, just betting smartly, they can face consequences from the bookmakers.
Like what? Getting kicked out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Bookies might blacklist IP addresses they think belong to syndicates. They might severely limit the amount accounts can bet, or just ban accounts altogether if they suspect sharp play.
Sharp play, meaning just too good.
Exactly. Not necessarily cheating, just winning too consistently, being too sharp.
Huh. There's a real irony there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Casinos, especially land-based ones, sometimes celebrate big winners, right? Put their photos up.
Yeah, the jackpot winners.
But online sportsbooks, often the total opposite. If you win too much, too consistently, especially across different betting sites, you get flagged. Not as lucky, but as a potential threat, maybe part of a syndicate. It's like being penalized for being good at the game.
So these syndicates, they're not just beating the odds, are they? They're kind of beating the entire system that's set up for the house to win.
That's a good way to put it. They're finding the cracks and exploiting them relentlessly.
Which brings us back, as we wrap up this deep dive, to that core question we started with. Are we looking at brilliant teamwork and cutting-edge data science, or is it fundamentally organized crime?
Well, you know that old saying, the house always wins?
Sure,
What this whole area shows us is, maybe not always, some people don't just beat the house.
they do more.
Yeah. Some build these teams, mathematicians, maybe even hackers,
Yeah.
analysts, to, and I think the source material put it quite vividly, burn the whole house down profitably.
Wow.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is that intersection. You've got incredibly high intellect, powerful technology, and a huge appetite for risk, all focused on systematically taking money out of these complex betting markets.
So a final thought for everyone listening. What does this whole phenomenon tell us about innovation, strategy, and where the lines get drawn, especially in spaces that aren't always tightly regulated? And maybe how does it make you think differently about chance versus calculation? Something to consider. You decide.